Welcome to the Effin Alchemy Podcast, a safe space for each other and you, our fellow alchemists, created through authentic vulnerability, respect, honesty, and trust. By working through our day-to-day experiences together and being transparent and relatable, we invite you to take comfort in where you currently are in your journey, knowing you are exactly where you're meant to be, you are seen, and you are never alone. Hi, I'm Cate, claircognizant woo goddess of Violet Feather Alchemy, bringing you downloads from the spiritual world.
And I'm Amy, audacious empowerment queen of Effin Creative, daring you to unleash your creatrix. This is the Effin Alchemy Podcast,
where vulnerable synergy begets effin magic.
Episode 7. Let's Get Physical Intelligence. Part 2. Breaking Patterns.
Hello, alchemists. We are picking up where we left off last time, continuing our discussion of repeating patterns and physical intelligence. Let's make some magic. Amy, last time you wanted to delve into something, and I would like to invite you to pick up where we left off.
When you talk about patterns repeating themselves and the circle of the pattern getting shorter and shorter, meaning it's drawing more attention to it because you're not listening or you're not open or you're not being receptive or you're just ignoring it, like I think you'd said too.
It's easy to do.
Because you don't want to deal with it or, kind of sweep it under the rug until it comes out blaring its, screaming at you or however that chooses to manifest within your body, within your external circumstances, what have you, until you pay attention to it. And when you come to a point when you're realizing like, oh, this is a pattern, I'm finally seeing that. Okay, I recognize and acknowledge that. I see how this is transpiring. I'm seeing what behaviors I'm falling back into, what fight or flight emotions I'm falling back into or what have you. Okay, message received on that, but then what? Okay, I got it. I see that it's a pattern. I recognize that this is happening and it's, something has to change, something has to break, something has to fall away, something has to be different in order to be learned and shed it and move on.
Right.
But even sometimes like you're not getting that message.
Right, but I think you just answered your own question with that. Like something's got to break, something's got to change, something's got to, action's got to be taken. It's simply
Damn
that.
you.
Yeah, it's simply that. It's the just take an action, whatever that is. Like whether it's changing a thought, whether it's I'm going to wake up today and make my bed because I never make my bed. I'm going to make my bed today. Like it's one thing. It's simply just changing a course of action that's going to set you on a different path. So there are multi-levels of universe going on. Like there's so many dimensions right now and you're constantly changing dimensions hundreds of millions of times a day, right? And so you're constantly changing which version of your experience you're in by every decision, by every thought, by every process that you go through in your day. You're constantly weaving in and out of different realities because every step and every action, every thought you have is determining that as you're creating them, right? So it sounds so oversimplified what you're saying, but it is that simple. It's not easy to execute because sometimes just getting out of bed is difficult. Like just the thought of even changing a thought is difficult and overwhelming, and that's totally okay. It's important to accept that those things can sometimes be really difficult, but the premise is relatively simple. And because you answered your own question, it's that simple. You just change your thought. You just take an action. You just do something and choose to be a different way. That's the simplest answer for that. Now, the execution of those things is where the challenge comes in and where we wrestle with it and where we may have difficulties. That's the part.
Yeah, it also feels like if every decision and every thought and every action carries so much weight, it almost feels paralyzing to want to take like every, throughout any given day, if you're sitting there like agonizing over every single decision or every single thought or every single action that you're taking, like what the cataclysmic events that you're putting into place further down the road, like that feels so fucking heavy and overwhelming. Even if you're trying to do it in a positive way, let's say going for a walk every day. Simple example. If I'm saying, okay, from now on, every day I'm going to go for a walk. Yes, it's something positive. It's something good. It's something for my well-being, what have you. Like it's a positive direction. But like where I get paralyzed at times is like, well, fuck. Like what if one day I don't take a walk? Like then my whole world is back to fucking square one, what I was trying to get out of this reality into another by doing this thing. And like, yeah, that's where I like get stuck in this fucking swirling toilet bowl. If I don't do that thing, then what? So I'm trying to break a pattern. I'm trying to be conscious. I'm trying to be aware of these things. I'm trying to make different choices. I'm trying to take different actions. Even if it is a small thing, like that's the Atomic Habit, that book, where it's like one little tiny thing that you do, over the course of a time. And that's neuroplasticity too. It's like one little action that you take widens the pathway and that creates a new synapse and whatever. So that makes sense to me on that level. But like you said, like the execution is where it fucks me up because I get in my head of like, but if I don't do this fucking thing, then like, I'm back at square one, or, like I'm going to repeat the pattern, or, this is going to happen or whatever. And that's where the fucking like fear and anxiety and all that shit kicks in because it hasn't been, and going back to the physical intelligence, like there's still something that hasn't been fucking fully processed through in that lesson, in that pattern that I'm needing to learn or acknowledge or what have you, even if I'm starting to take these fucking actions. So it becomes like a fucking loop, even within itself. And what happens is like, I almost have like a 30,000 foot view. Like I'm above watching it all happen. And I'm like seeing myself in this sort of like dithering state, knowing that that's not getting me any closer to the other reality that I'm trying to get into, or jump timelines, or however you want to say it. Because I'm still stuck in this like fucking mind fuck loop that it all feels so overwhelming that then I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm not going to do anything. Like, you know what I mean? Then I'm just like, nope, I'm totally fucking shut off. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to take any action because any little thing feels so fucking overwhelming at that time. And so is that where it comes into being like, if it feels like that, that's, again, the lesson, the message, the divinity from source being like, yeah, it's time just to fucking sit in it and process it through, because trying to circumvent it by like, oh, if I take this action, then it'll be fine. Or if I do this thing every day, it'll be fine. Or is it the message to being like, you need to fucking sit in the shit for a while to be able to process it through? I don't know. I feel like I just talked in a loop myself.
You did.
I did. I totally talked in a giant fucking circle. It's the theme of the day.
You did. And I love that, because the answer to all of it is yes. But I think the bigger picture here is to realize that our tendencies are to want to make things black and white. And things aren't black and white. They are constantly in flux. There's constantly options and different outcomes. So let's go back to your walk example. Let's say that you...
Yeah, I totally went off the rails from I was even talking about taking a walk. Like I totally forgot about
it. That's okay, but I'm going to bring us back to the walk, because this is a really easy example. Let's say that you decided, I'm going to take a walk because I want to change the course of my day and I want to do something for myself to make myself feel better. Perfect. That's amazing. So you decide today, I'm going to get up and I'm going to take a walk, and you take a walk and you did such a great job and you feel good about yourself and you're like, I feel better and I did something for me today. That's wonderful. And let's say the next day you get up and you're like, I know I have a really busy full day today, but I'm going to make time to take a walk today. And you do, you go out and you take a walk, and that's amazing. But let's say that the next day you don't get out and you take a walk. Well, you may start to beat yourself up, or you may, miss that better feeling that you felt, and that makes you feel down. And then maybe you start comparing, well, today I didn't take a walk and I'm going to, and I don't feel as good as I did yesterday. But the point is that you took a walk for the last 2 days, and that already set your course a little bit different. And even if you'd just taken a walk on a one-off, just one day, you'd already set your course differently than had you not taken that walk at all, because you had a change in thought pattern. You're like, I'm going to do something different for myself today. So already that change in thought pattern has already put you on a different trajectory. There are billions of multiverses and billions of different possibilities of what can happen. And that's what I'm saying. You weave in and out, and even the smallest little thing is going to put you on a course for a different reality. And even though the difference in your reality may be, to your perception, negligible, it's still a different reality than had you not. Even if you just do something one time, you've still changed your course. And so even though you didn't stay on your walk kick and take a walk every day for, 5 years, and obviously that would have a more noticeable effect on the trajectory. And I'm just using the walk as an example. This could happen, if you decided to change jobs, you decided to leave a relationship or whatever, the consequences, the outcomes are still going to be similar. I guess the point is, some things have more noticeable outcomes than other things that are more minute. So you may not notice the nuance of doing something one time as opposed to the cumulative effect of doing something over a longer period of time and making an actual habit. Giving ourselves credit for the things that we do for ourselves, even if it's just a one-time thing. And then understanding our personal power and understanding that we have the ability to change the trajectory of what we're doing, of what path we're on, of our reality. So whether it's something small to do that, whether it's something larger, the owning of the personal power that we are the ones that have control over changing a thought, changing an action, and that this stuff isn't happening to us, it's happening around us, or it's happening for us, so that we can step in and own the personal power that we have and really embody, and this term is way overused, but I'm going to use it anyway, our main character energy. That's the buzz thing now, like main character energy, right? But it's true. If you're not navigating your life, then what are you doing? You're allowing yourself to be swept around by the people you come in contact with, or your circumstances, or whatever. You have to stand in your personal power and be the navigator of your ship. You have to take the personal power back. That's what you're here to do, is to embody yourself fully and your personal power and be like, this is how I'm showing up and fulfilling my life's purpose and serving others, fulfilling my life's purpose in this lifetime is by taking control of the helm, by grabbing the fuck on and being like, this is how I'm showing up fully in the world. Right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Fine. Whatever. That's my 14-year-old self. It's like, whatever you say. No, yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the empowerment piece. It's owning your power and understanding that you're in control of making even micro adjustments to your journey and to your experience. Even one micro adjustment is going to put you on just a smidge bit different course than you were already on. So it's not like, if you imagine drawing a straight line on a piece of paper, and let's say that at the start of the line, that's your morning, and you wake up and you decide, oh, I'm going to take a walk, and you move up that line. And then it's not like you're going to stay on that line once you take that walk. The walk is going to slightly bend the line over, let's say to the left. Let's say it's just going to be just off course just a little bit from that straight line. Once you take that action, and even actually making the decision's already going to put you a little bit off course because you've changed a thought. But the actual doing of that decision is going to put you a little bit more off course. Now, is it going to be 90 degrees? No, it's going to be like 2 degrees.
Yeah.
But you're still not on the same 0 degree line that you were going to be on. You're a little bit off. Now, it may be undetectable to you
at the time.
Yeah, right.
But if I was just thinking as you were giving that analogy of like, if you look back, right? If you look backwards and if you looked at it from the line coming like from behind you, like it's not going to be this straight line. It's going to be this totally wacko, swirly. Sometimes it goes off and, swirls around and then it comes back and then it goes clear to the other side. Then sometimes it sways in the middle, back and forth a little. Like it's so windy, and that feels so trite to say, like the winding road of life, but it so is.
True.
But it's like looking forward and knowing that that's how it's going to go sometimes can feel like, no, it's so, like you said, like it's black and white, like it's a straight line. It's just like I go from here to there. This is how I do it. But having to surrender in that and reminding yourself and reminding in your heart of hearts, like it's not going to go in this straight fucking line. Like it's going to, every little thing that I do, that I say, that person I come in contact with, whatever, it's going to create more of a winding path.
It's the micro adjustments that make that make the line bend and turn and loop back on itself. And it's micro adjustments can be beneficial for you, or micro adjustments can be like sliding back into patterns and stuff like that. Yep. So it just depends, and neither one of them is good or bad. It's just the nuance of the micro adjustment that takes you in a certain direction. And if it's looping you back around into a circle where you feel like the loop is getting smaller and smaller, then look at your thoughts, look at your actions, look at what you're doing that's bringing you back into a similar, because nothing will ever be an exact repeat of what it was before. There's always, and I keep using the word nuance a lot, but when we're talking about things that are harder to detect, the nuances in them are important. So let's say, that you're having the same kind of relationship with somebody over and over and over again, and it's different people and they keep coming back to you in different iterations. Let's say that you have, you end up in relationships with people that have addictive personalities. Well, let's say that the first person maybe, tended to overuse alcohol. Okay, well, you're like, okay, well, I learned from this and I know that this isn't a good fit for me. And let's say, okay, I've ended this relationship, I'm moving on. And the next person comes in and they seem so great. And then you realize that they have maybe an addiction to some kind of other substance. And the addiction piece is still the same, but the nuance of that is going to be different because it's trying to teach you something different until you learn about the bigger overall pattern that you have. Right? Like it's the addiction pattern that's the overall piece that's coming back, and the cycle that needs to be broken. It's not the nuance of the actual addiction itself. So that's what to be looking at. The nuance is there to help you try to learn the lesson from a different angle.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like a flavor of the day.
The magnetism, you're still pulling that in.
Correct. And that's like in this example, the magnetism is you're drawing in the addiction.
Yeah.
So what is it about you that you need to look at and dig out, and like, why am I attracting this into my life when this is something that consciously I know that I don't want, but that unconsciously I'm drawing in, right? It's that kind of thing.
Such a mind fuck, like what you fear you draw near, right?
Yeah,
so
it is.
What? But no, that's what I don't want. Why are you showing up at my fucking doorstep?
Because you're putting the energy. You're putting the energy on the don't want part.
Yeah.
So, and that's another whole layer of this thing. It's a whole nother layer. But that's talking about the cyclical and the cycles like that. It's each time that it's coming back to you, there is something that's different about it. And it's up to you. That difference is trying to teach you the lesson in a little bit different flavor, if you will, so that maybe that flavor will resonate with you enough for you to be like, oh, this is the lesson. Like, this is how I break this. This is what's needed for me to dig this out and get past it once and for all. The flavors don't matter because they're just different, like, lesson books for this main thing.
They're the modules of life.
They're the modules of life. Yes, I love that. But that's what it is.
Fuck.
Right?
Yeah, no, it totally is. And that makes so much sense about what's come up recently is like, there's so many things that are different, but like at the core, like it's still the same fucking thing.
It's still the same
You're like,
shit.
God damn it. Like
over and over again.
You were done with this thing. And it's just still,
It's
like,
still a
no,
thing.
you haven't clearly fucking paid attention to it or really, like, I love how you said, like, I haven't gone in and like really dug that out.
Yeah.
It's like pulling a root out of the ground, you've just kind of clipped it at the soil level and the root is still down there just all in its fucking tendrils like locked in, right? And you're like, bitch, I gotta dig like 3 feet around in a circle to get this tiny little root out because it's so just integrated into every fiber of your being. And then I think that goes back to the physical intelligence thing is like,
yes,
where are you feeling that? Where is the root coming from? And knowing that you have to get it out. Like, you have to fucking get it out.
Yes.
If you don't fucking get it out, it's going to be catastrophic.
Yeah.
It literally catastrophic. And I think it's life or death. And so, like, being on this path and talking about these things and bringing awareness to this is not to be, like, cool and trendy and, like, let's put this out there. But it's, like, it's a matter of necessity of survival to me. To be able to continue moving through life, these are the things that I am experiencing, that I think about, that I'm intrigued by, that make sense to me, that make me ask more questions, that get me closer to source, and then 10 feet back, like, I know nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a matter of, that's how I navigate my life. Is through this. And it's like, if I'm not doing this work, then like, what is, as you always say, like, then what are you doing? Like, what's the fucking point? Like, why are we here? Like, this is, like, what else would you be fucking doing on this plane of existence? And it's like, yeah, sometimes it's really fucking hard, and sometimes it's ugly, and sometimes it's scary, and sometimes it's fucking downright terrifying. And sometimes there's so much joy in it, but having to sit there and dig through and go that deep and get to the fucking root of things is like, it's absolutely fucking terrifying sometimes. And so that's why when you're feeling something and it is really deep rooted in your body, and there's this pain or this nagging or this kind of chronic factor to it, like, it's not acute, right? Like, it's a chronic sensation. Even if you can deal with it and you can kind of like go through your day-to-day life with it, and it's there, and you just kind of like, or you choose to numb it out through any choice of substances or addictive behaviors or what have you, so that you don't have to feel it. At some point, like, it'll come back and it'll bite you in the fucking ass so hard, and sometimes it can fucking take you out. And so being aware of these things and talking about it and putting it out there and recognizing it in myself is like, fuck, you do so much work. And you're like,
and you still have so much more to do.
Work. And you're like, I've like healed and like uncovered and like done so many things. But like, God damn it, that root is still there.
Yeah.
And there's still more digging to be done, and there's still more uncovering, there's still more unearthing, and again, like I said, like, more questions to be asked, and that begets this question, begets that question, begets another question.
I agree. I think that it is something that's very important to acknowledge, not letting things fester, and circling back again to the beginning of our podcast today, it's address it. Don't let it become something big that's unmanageable that could potentially take you down. So, alchemists, do you experience repeating patterns in your life? We invite you to share with us what patterns you have broken and how you have done so. Join us next time for the final installment of our 3-part physical intelligence conversation.
Until then, stay effin' magical. Ready to create more magic? For additional episodes and insights, go to effinalchemy.com. EFFINALCHEMY.com.